Most people associate the word crucifixion with the figure of Jesus Christ. However, it was used on many other occasions as well, which are less well known. Crucifixion was a form of capital punishment used in ancient Rome, and was used from the 3rd century BC to the 4th century AD. It was one of the cruelest forms of execution employed by the Romans, so was reserved for the most heinous of crimes, such as rebellion or treason. It is important to note that it was not only a form of punishment, but also a form of public humiliation. The victim's suffering was meant to deter others from committing similar crimes. As a result, crucifixion was often carried out in a public place, such as next to main roads, to maximize the number of people who would see it. Anyone found guilty of a crime worthy of this punishment was stripped of their clothing and tied or nailed to a wooden cross. Their arms and legs were stretched out in a way that made it difficult for the victim to breathe. It was meant to ensure that the person suffered over a prolonged period of time. Eventually, usually after a few days, the victim would become dehydrated, exhausted, and die. As mentioned before, the most famous crucifixion was that of Jesus of Nazareth. According to the Bible, Jesus was sentenced to death by the Roman governor of Judea for allegedly inciting rebellion against the Roman Empire. However, there were other famous times this punishment was used as well. Between 74 and 71 BC, the gladiator Spartacus led a slave revolt against the Roman Republic. Following his defeat in battle against the Roman army, 6,000 of his fellow rebels were crucified along the Appian Way, a major road leading into Rome. Other slaves were meant to see what would happen to them if they also fought for their freedom. Another example comes from the Roman wars against the Jews. During the Roman siege of Jerusalem in AD 70, the Roman soldiers crucified Jewish captives before the walls of the city. They did this to encourage those inside to surrender or face the same punishment. Since the objects used in crucifixion were perishable, namely the body of the victim and the wooden crosses, archaeological evidence of this practice is incredibly rare. To date, there are only 2 archaeological finds that tell us more about this form of punishment. The first is known as the Alexamenos graffito, which dates back to the late 2nd or early 3rd century AD. This graffiti depicts a human-like figure with the head of a donkey, hanging from a cross. Beneath the image is written, "Alexamenos worships his god." This appears to be a mocking depiction of a Christian worshipper, with the figure on the cross representing Jesus. Secondly, a skeleton was discovered in a tomb in Jerusalem in 1968, which still has a nail lodged in its heel bone. The tomb dates back to the 1st century AD, which is close to the time of Jesus' crucifixion. The presence of the nail in the heel bone is consistent with the Roman practice of nailing the victim to the cross through the feet. Crucifixion gradually became less common towards the end of the Roman Empire, and evidence of its use disappeared. If you enjoy learning about ancient Rome, take a look at our video on the mysterious disappearance of the 9th Legion. I look forward to seeing you again soon in our next video.